1. Suffering from hypoglycemia during a meeting. I plopped down onto my boss's lap. My colleague asked me how it felt to sit on him. I blurted out. Poor quality. Negative review. In the afternoon. Rumors spread in the company that the boss is not up to par. In the office. Sean slowly tugged at his tie. Secretary Zhu. Sit up here. Finished. 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 Late. Late. After 5 minutes of washing up and changing into a coat. Without having time to eat. I rushed all the way to the company. This is because the Double 11 has arrived. I stayed up late again and passionately placed orders for dozens of items. I directly stayed up until 3:30 in the morning. I didn't hear the alarm clock at all in the morning. Doris. Where are you? Sean is holding an emergency meeting. Come quickly. My colleague Sam called frantically to me. Coming soon. Coming soon. After hanging up the phone, I didn't dare to delay for a second. Leaving aside other things. Let's just talk about having a boss like Sean who is comparable to a vampire. With the looks of a vampire. He does inhumane things. He always has a straight face. Wears an unchanged suit. In his eyes. There is only work. I even wonder if there is nothing else in his wardrobe except suits. Being his secretary is truly a great test in life. According to Sam. I don't know how many secretaries have been fired before me. None of them have stayed for 3 months. And I have broken the record and have been working for nearly 8 months. In addition to being responsible for Sean's work schedule and various documents every day. I accompany him on overtime and business trips. Nowadays. Even bosses are competing. I really don't know what he is busy with every day at the company. He works overtime every day. Every day. If I hadn't always insisted on establishing the image of a dedicated and responsible little secretary, I would have been punished long ago. Although Sean is expressionless, has many demands, and is a bit fussy, he really gives a lot. He gives overtime pay and provides meals. It doesn't seem so difficult anymore. 2. Little Zhu. Overslept again? You're a bit late today. The security guard saw me running towards him from afar and seemed to be used to it. I used to arrive just on time. But today, I'm directly late. Uncle? I can't talk to you anymore. I don't have time. Hey. Go quickly. With a few big strides. I instantly had a sparkle in my eyes and rushed towards the time clock. Done. At the moment I punched in, I immediately relaxed. What's done? A voice came from behind. My nape felt cold. And I stiffly turned around. Sure enough. If it wasn't Sean standing behind me. Who else could it be? Sean was still as usual. Wearing a well-tailored suit. His eyebrows were cold and handsome. His facial features were three-dimensional. Although there was no expression on his face. He still had a strong imposing manner. Good morning, boss. Sean's eyes scanned me from top to bottom, recalling the rumors of the previous secretaries. My scalp tingled and I didn't dare to move again. Just when I was whether to resign on my own initiative or let him scold me and then resign. Sean's distinct knuckled hand reached out in front of me. Hold the materials well and go to the meeting. I want to resign. Before my brain could react. The words had already blurted out. Sean frowned deeply. Secretary Zhu. What did you say? Nothing. Materials. Right? I'll prepare them immediately. It turns out he wasn't going to fire me. I took a deep breath and immediately changed into a serious expression. I took the documents in Sean's hand and then closely followed behind him. At this time, the conference room was already full of people. I took the initiative to pull out a chair for Sean. Before I could take a few steps, I suddenly felt something was wrong. There was tinnitus, dizziness, and the things in front of me gradually became blurred and white. The familiar feeling told me that hypoglycemia had struck. Looking at the sugar packets placed in the center of the conference table, I stretched out my hand trembling and murmured, "Give it to me." Before fainting, I unconsciously wanted to grab something, but I grabbed nothing. Just when I thought I was going to have a solid fall on my butt. Hey, it doesn't hurt? Then, I rolled my eyes and fainted completely. 3. Wake up. Doris. Doris. As I was sleeping soundly, I felt some heat and pain on both sides of my cheeks. Who is it? Dared to disturb this princess's sleep? I waved my hand vigorously. And with a slap, there was no sound from the opposite side. I comfortably turned over and was about to continue falling asleep. Shoo. Meng. The gritted teeth voice in my ear sounded just like that, Sean. No way. I sat up abruptly. And my head was dizzy again. There was warmth behind me. And my body was supported. Immediately, a cup of steaming water was handed to me. Thank you. Looking at the facilities on the bed, I didn't expect that fainting from hypoglycemia would land me in the hospital. After taking a sip, it was very sweet. Now this cup of sugar water is simply a life-saving straw for me. I looked at my benefactor with great gratitude. I don't know who caught me after I fainted. Ah, Boss Yan? I almost blurted out Sean. Wouldn't it be the end of being fired if he found out? Sean gave a soft response, and then nodded at me again. Drink it up. Yes. Boss. Sean is quite nice. He also thoughtfully prepared sugar water. Thinking this way, my smile froze at this moment when my eyes touched the 5 large cups of water placed on the table next to me. I really did drink my fill as I didn't eat in the morning. Sean stared at me intently, as if I didn't finish drinking the sugar water, I might not be alive the next second. After just a glance, I continued to drink silently with my head down. But it's very strange. That red mark on the boss's face didn't exist in the morning. This stalemate lasted for half a quarter of an hour. Burp. Boss. Burp. I really can't drink anymore. I stared blankly at the half cup of sugar water in my hand, and the large cup left on the table. This is simply more painful than making me handle documents. Meeting my pleading and longing eyes, Sean was stunned for a moment and then turned his head away and didn't look at me. If you don't want to drink it, then don't. I didn't ask you to finish it all. Having low blood sugar and not having breakfast. Are you courting death? I'll allow you to rest for a day today. Before I could be pleasantly surprised for too long. He continued. The cost will be deducted from your salary, leaving only Sean's indifferent back. I lay on the hospital bed feeling completely hopeless. For Doris. Why haven't you come to work? How are you? Are you okay? My phone vibrated non-stop. Several consecutive messages were all from Sam. Just as I was about to send a message, the other party called. Doris. Doris. How are you? Low blood sugar. I took a day off and just got home. Ah. Then rest first. I'll ask you about that matter tomorrow. Oh, Sean is here. All right. I won't talk to you anymore. I'll go and get busy first. Have a good rest. After saying some senseless words, the call was hung up. I didn't pay much attention. Coincidentally, the newly bought suitcase arrived. It was said that a person weighing 180 pounds could jump on it without any problem. Anyway, it supported on-site inspection. I directly took off my shoes and stood on it. The moment I stepped on it, I felt something was wrong. This material is soft and easily deflated. With an attitude of giving it a try and trusting it again, I tried jumping once. As a result, the corner next to it directly caved in and cracked. And I almost fell. Good grief. Can this broken suitcase still accompany me on a business trip? I directly took a video and sent it. But there was no response for a long time. Until evening when I was about to lie down and rest. There was still no news. I sent a complaint to the platform. In a few seconds, dear customer. Is there any problem? Please take a look at the above video. I sent it again patiently. Dear customer. Did you use any special tools to damage our suitcase? I damaged it. I, a person weighing less than 100 pounds, just jumped on the suitcase once. And the shell of your suitcase became like this. Didn't you say that a person weighing 180 pounds could stand on it without any problem? After saying this sentence, there was no news from the other side again. Forget it. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I still have to get up early for work. If I'm late again, it will be a loss. 5 early the next morning. I appeared in front of the time clock on time, swiped my card, and then made a cup of coffee. It couldn't be more wonderful. Just as I sat down at my workstation, a message came again. Dear customer, can you withdraw your complaint? We will exchange the goods for you, and please give us a good review. This is a shoddy product. Do you still want me to recommend it and deceive people? I typed furiously on the keyboard. Sam from next door had somehow slid to me on his swivel chair without me noticing. Doris, let me ask you, what's it like to sit on it? Absorbed in the messages on my phone, I vaguely heard that Sam seemed to have asked me a question. What's it like to sit on it? As for that suitcase, it cracked before I even had a chance to sit on it. I blurted out. And my voice was loud. It's soft and deflated. Bad review. For a moment, the surroundings became quiet. Really? Sam still didn't believe it. I affirmed. It was gone in less than a minute. It's not just a little bit bad. After saying this sentence, Sam left me disappointed. In the afternoon, rumors spread in the company that the boss is not good. Knock knock. There were 2 knocks on the desk. Secretary Zhu. Come here. Sean's face was extremely dark and his attitude was very cold. Following behind Sean and facing Sam's eyes that seemed to be telling me to fend for myself. I was puzzled. In the office, Sean had a serious expression. I nervously picked at my fingers and didn't dare to look up at Sean. Was I late and still found out? Will I lose my full attendance bonus for this month again? My heart was like a drum, beating non-stop. Sean slowly tugged at his tie and approached me step by step. For every step he took forward, I took a step back, until I tripped over my left foot with my right foot and fell unsteadily onto the sofa. Secretary Zhu. Here. Sean's voice is very magnetic and pleasant to hear. Every time Sean calls me, I always feel a bit sexy. Soft and deflated? What? For a moment, I still didn't react. Isn't this the content of my chat with Sam? Am I not good? Sean's tone was dangerous. When a pair of black eyes looked at me, it seemed as if he would devour me. When did Secretary Zhu try it? Why don't I know? Remembering the rumors in the office in the afternoon, I immediately explained as soon as I understood. I didn't mean this. In fact, I bought a suitcase. That merchant. After explaining for more than half an hour, Sean also patiently listened to my half-hour rant. Finally, I didn't forget to add a sentence. Boss, I didn't mean that your quality is worrying. You must be very powerful. You are very good. I was immersed in giving compliments. Of course, I didn't notice Sean's increasingly red earlobes. Secretary Zhu. Yes. You can go. Okay. At the moment I opened the door, several colleagues scattered like birds and beasts. I immediately grabbed the culprit. Sam. Stop. It's your own fault for not listening carefully to my question. You can't blame me. Forget it. I'll spare your life. Treat me to dinner tonight. Thank you, sir, for your mercy. Also, this time I heard it clearly. What? The boss is great. You still say it. The next day is a holiday. I am sleeping soundly in bed. Ding dong. Ding dong. The doorbell is rung. Really? Who is disturbing my sweet dreams so early in the morning? Coming. Who? Sean is wearing a black windbreaker, which makes him look taller and has an outstanding temperament. Receiving a beauty shock so early in the morning, I stood stunned for a few seconds and then immediately woke up. Boss, why are you here? Sean only glanced at me and then turned his face away. His handsome face flushed. Usually I didn't notice. It's quite. Sean murmured a few words softly. I didn't hear clearly. inadvertently looking down. I quickly tightened my pajamas. Recently, the weather is getting colder. I didn't wear anything inside the plush pajamas. Just after getting up, the clothes are loosely hanging on my body. I don't know if Sean saw something he shouldn't see from that angle. A cough. This is for you. Sean brought over a large box from behind. This is. Prepare well. Don't forget tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up. Sean left after saying these words. If it weren't for this box still here, I would doubt if I was having an illusion because I didn't wake up fully in the morning. After unpacking it, I found that it was actually a suitcase. I almost forgot. It seems that I will be on a business trip tomorrow. No wonder. I was still thinking, when did Sean become so humane? As soon as I complained, he directly sent a suitcase. Now it seems that it must be because of the business trip and he wants to warn me not to be lazy. Looking at this high-end suitcase, I suddenly have an ominous premonition. I take out my phone and take a picture. Sure enough, my guess is correct. The 4-digit number on the screen stings my eyes. A suitcase is worth half a month's salary of mine. I don't understand the world of the rich. I just want to know if I can return this suitcase for money. Sean is standing beside the car. Sometimes he puts his arms around his chest, and sometimes he leans against the door with one hand. In the car, Master Lee, the driver, has witnessed the boss posing for more than half an hour. After confirming that there are really no paparazzi around, he finally can't help but secretly take out his phone. Hello? Master Lee. What's wrong? Secretary Zhu. Come down quickly. We will miss the plane soon. If you don't come down soon, the boss will almost get sick from waiting. Of course. Master Lee didn't say the latter words, recalling the boss's series of strange behaviors. First he spent a whole hour picking a suit in the morning. Then, instead of putting things in the large trunk, he piled things on the passenger seat. Now he is standing outside the car posing in such cold weather. Master Lee doesn't understand. I open the window and look down. Sure enough, I find Sean leaning against the car door. I don't know how long he has been waiting. After confirming that I didn't forget anything, I hurriedly enter the elevator with my suitcase. As soon as I walk out of the elevator, I meet Sean's noble and cold gaze. Sean takes a few long steps and walks up to me. Boss, I say hello. In the next second, my hand feels lighter. Sean's movements are smooth. He naturally takes the suitcase from my hand. Boss, I can do it. This is too heavy. Why? Secretary Zhu. Are you going to say I can't do it again? No. I don't know what's wrong with him again. I can only follow quietly behind. After putting away the luggage, I consciously open the car door. After Sean sits down, I pull open the passenger door, only to find that there are many things piled on the seat. Seeing this situation, Master Lee suddenly realizes the boss's changes seem to have started only after Secretary Zhou came. Sure enough, the rumors in the company are true. There are many things in front of Secretary Zhou. You can sit in the back with the boss. Master Lee has an amiable smile, especially when he sees Sean's expression visibly relax a bit. He is even more certain that he is not far from a pay raise. I nod. There is no other way. Here are the tickets for both of you. Without looking closely, I hand over Sean's ticket. What class did Secretary Zhu book? Of course it's Eco. No way. How can it be first class? I remember I booked one economy class and one first class. Wait. No way. I quickly take Sean's ticket. Good grief. I booked it wrong. Secretary Zhu really doesn't treat herself badly. I know I'm in the wrong. I will submit my resignation letter to the personnel department. Do you really want to leave so much? I don't know why. As soon as Sean says this sentence, I suddenly feel that the temperature around drops a lot. Of course not. I lower my head and say softly, "Let's go." Sean sighs softly and takes my hand and walks towards the service counter. Just upgrade the cabin again. Then, no deduction of your salary. Thank you. Sean. I lie on the seat in first class with tears in my eyes. Sean turns his head and sees me. He is stunned for a moment. I didn't blame you. And I didn't deduct your salary. Why are you crying? Are you not feeling well? I remember your physiology. The sound came to an abrupt end. Sean awkwardly covered his mouth and coughed. Then handed a tissue to me. Huff. Wipe it. I took the paper listlessly and blew my nose. I seemed to be still alive. But in fact, I had been gone for a while. Because I just remembered that I had forgotten another extremely important thing. I don't know what's wrong recently. I keep making mistakes one after another. This has never happened before. Things can't go wrong 3 times. Is my career really going to end here? Tears fell unconsciously. At this moment, a slender and fair large palm gently cupped my face. And the thumb wiped away the tears. Don't cry. I don't know how to comfort people. Sean's movements were a bit stiff. And his brows were tightly furrowed as if he was impatient. Thinking that my future life as a rich woman is about to end soon. I, who has never brought emotions to work before, burst into loud crying directly, completely subverting the image I usually create. For a moment, Sean was stunned, feeling the intense accusatory gazes around and the flight attendants' inquiries. Sean's face flushed red. His lips quivered as if he wanted to explain. But then he realized that he had no idea of the reason. Don't cry. The cold tone immediately stopped my crying. And then I realized what stupid things I had done. I patted my cheek and turned my head to reveal a standard professional fake smile. Secretary Zhu. Don't smile anymore. It's like a fierce ghost demanding life. The 2 blacked air stains under my eyes were reflected on the phone screen. Money is hard to earn. And shit is hard to eat. I tried my best to control my facial expression and constantly brainwash myself. Suddenly, my head was held down by a large palm. Be good. Tell me what happened. If you tell me, I'll give you a raise. Sean's tone was incredibly gentle. Good grief. Is this the way of expressing not knowing how to comfort people? Then can I say it? Say it. Will you not blame me for what happened? No matter what happens, it's better than being exposed in the wilderness. It's not as serious as being exposed in the wilderness. But I might end up sleeping on the street. What? The business trip has been advanced by a week. I forgot to change the hotel reservation time. Hotels close to our previously planned itinerary are basically fully booked. But there is still a large bedroom. Is that why you cried? I thought you. Forget it. As long as there is a room. It's fine. Hurry up and dress. We still have to meet clients tomorrow. There isn't much time. It was a false alarm. Sean returned to his usual aloof and distant demeanor. Leaning back, he began to close his eyes and rest. I sniffed and carefully reminded. Then, is what you said still valid? Sean? Send a message to the finance department. 10 at the moment when the door was opened. Although Sean had a smile on his face, his expression somehow seemed to be one of being angered into laughter. Secretary Zhu. This is the room you booked? I looked at the furnishings in the room with a flushed face. Water bed. Sheer curtains. Ambient lights. Hanging chair. I shook my head in a panic and quickly checked the room information. It was indeed a large bedroom. Wait. Whose good idea is it to write the word couple? So small. I was in a hurry to book a hotel at that time. After finally finding a large bedroom, I didn't expect such a mistake. Fearing that Sean would go back on his word and not give me a raise, I hurriedly explained to prove my innocence. No wonder the expression of the front desk lady was so meaningful. Now I just wish I could bury my head in the ground. Our eyes met. Sean's eyes were deep. I don't know if it was because the temperature in the room was high. He pulled off his tie and loosened his collar. I didn't dare to look anymore. Boss. You rest first. I'll go ask the front desk for another quilt. Looking at my fleeing back, Sean couldn't help but chuckle. I dawdled outside for a long time. Without exaggeration, if someone gave me a piece of paper, I could draw out the hotel floor plan. When I thought the time was about right, I entered the password and walked in quietly. Fortunately, Sean was already asleep on the bed. I made a makeshift bed on the floor, took a simple wash, and then got into the quilt. I don't know if it was because I was a bit overly nervous today. I fell asleep faster than usual, listening to the soft and even breathing sound. Secretary Shu? Doris? Seeing that there was no response after calling several times, the figure on the bed slowly moved. 11. The person in front frowned in dissatisfaction at being woken up. He directly buried his head forward. Men's body temperature is naturally a bit higher than women's. His arm was tightly wrapped around my waist like a heated iron ring. I trembled nervously, as if realizing something was wrong. Sean rubbed his sleepy eyes. When he saw my terrified expression and his hand on my waist, he was stunned. His earlobes instantly turned red. He immediately let go and pulled away. Secretary Shu, why are you on my bed? I also want to know how I ended up on the bed. Could it be that I sleepwalk? After checking, both of our clothes were neatly worn. Apparently, nothing indescribable had happened. Boss, I swear I was definitely sleeping on the floor. Look, I even made a makeshift bed. I don't know how I ended up on the bed. Maybe I sleepwalked. Afraid that Sean wouldn't believe me. After all, in the eyes of outsiders, he is a diamond bachelor, rich and handsome. There are many who want to climb into his bed. I heard that such things have happened before, but almost none of them had a good ending. I believe you. Sean's voice sounded from above, deep and gentle. For a moment, I was so surprised that I didn't know how to respond. The atmosphere became a bit awkward. Well, boss, it's getting late. I'll go check the documents we need to use today. There seemed to be the coolness of Sean's exhalation on my chest. I grabbed the clothes next to me and put them on. In my haste, I couldn't find the right way to put them on for a long time. It shouldn't be like this. Why can't I put it on? I couldn't help complaining. That's my pants. After taking a closer look, sure enough, if it wasn't Sean's suit pants, what else could it be? At this moment, I only felt that the clothing in my hand was extremely hot. I said why I couldn't find the head. Blush spread to the neck. I jumped out of bed in a panic and was almost tripped by my own clothes on the ground. Fortunately, I stabilized myself. Sean put his hands on both sides of me for protection. Although there was no contact, the touch of the big palm just now was still profound. My waist involuntarily tightened. Embarrassed, I grabbed my clothes and rushed into the dressing room. When I came out, Sean was already ready. The black suit outlined his perfect waist-shoulder ratio. The buttons were fastidiously fast and to the top one. There was still that serious expression on his face that kept people at a distance. I looked at the notebook and reported the schedule as usual. Boss, the hotel has been arranged. At 10 o'clock. We will discuss cooperation with the key group on time. Sean responded faintly and put down the cup in his hand to get up. Boss, the tie is crooked. I am a bit obsessive-compulsive. Without waiting for Sean's reaction, I consciously walked forward and started to adjust the tie. Only when I looked up did I realize that the distance between the two of us was so close that we could feel each other's breath. My heart was in a mess, and I pushed my hand up suddenly. Oops. Boss. I didn't mean it. Sean was caught off guard and strangled. His palm wrapped around my hand and loosened the tie. Like an electric shock, I withdrew my hand. Looking at my action, Sean frowned slightly. It's okay. Let's go. 12 Opening the box door. What came into view was a man leaning on the sofa chair. Under his gathered black hair, a demonic allied beautiful phoenix eyes had upturned darks at the corners. Several buttons of the white shirt were undone. When the man saw us coming, the corner of his mouth rose. Why is it you? Have you missed me? Little YNEN, the man hooked his hand on Sean's shoulder in a friendly way. Felix. Speak properly. Don't disgust me. TSK. So indifferent. I finally persuaded my dad to come over with great difficulty and wanted to give you a surprise. If I didn't know Sean's character and understand that the next heir of the key group is his childhood friend Felix, I would really suspect that there is some indescribable relationship between the two of them. Hey. Who is this beauty? Felix's eyes glanced at me. Then at Sean again. There was a hint of hard to conceal gossip and excitement in his eyes. With Sean's personality, he wouldn't introduce me. So I skillfully showed a standard smile and took the initiative to introduce myself. Hello, Mr. Key. I am Sean's secretary, Doris. I have long admired your great name. Being able to keep up with a workaholic like Sean. Doris. Your ability must be good. This kind of mutual flattery can be said to be essential in the workplace. Only. Doris? Oh. Can I call you like this? Doris? As if seeing what I was thinking. Felix raised his eyebrows slightly. And his tone was casually languid. After all, we are here to discuss cooperation. The other party didn't do anything. It's just a name. Of course you can. No. Sean interrupted me coldly. Why not? Felix's smile at the corner of his mouth deepened a bit. With teasing. She is my secretary. I say no. So it's no. Okay. Okay. Yours. Yours. I won't call you this anymore. Little Meng? Is it okay? No. Then Sister Zhu? Who is your sister? Doris. Doris. Calling you by your full name is always okay, right? Barely. Felix sighed. A man's jealousy should not be underestimated. Then let's go. I'll take you to have some fun. No. Sean directly refused with a blank expression. Really? I remember that we haven't discussed our cooperation yet. Right? In fact, with our friendship. This is a small matter. But I remember that there is also a company that wants to come. Felix stopped in the middle of his words. Under his tall nose were two thin lips with a mischievous smile. Good guy. This is a blatant threat. Let's go. Why wouldn't we go? Sean? I carefully pulled Sean's. I had heard long ago that this cooperation is very important for the company's development. If it succeeds, I can get a lot more salary. Since he doesn't want to go, then Doris can come with me. Anyway, you also represent your company. It's rare to enjoy the happiness of us to going out and playing alone. Sean's face slowly became ugly. Finally, he spat out 2 words. Lead the way. Sure. 13 looking at the newly changed white polo shirt and short skirt. I fell into deep thought. Who would have thought that the final place would be on a tennis court? Can you play? Felix didn't know when he stood beside me. Probably. I was a bit guilty. This should be similar to badminton. Right? Hit a ball, and let me see. I took a deep breath. Threw the ball up. During the fall of the ball, I swung the racket hard. After several swings, I didn't even touch a shadow of the ball. Felix lowered his head and covered his mouth. I looked at his trembling shoulders. If you want to laugh, just laugh. Theft. Sorry. I really couldn't hold it back. Felix wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and slowly walked behind me. Okay. I won't laugh anymore. Really. Believe me. Let me teach you. So, when Sean came out after changing clothes, this was what he saw. The center of gravity should be lowered a bit. When swinging the racket, don't slouch. Keep straight. Felix embraced me from behind. One hand gently held my wrist. Seeing that the other hand was about to touch the section of my fair and slender waist that was exposed, Sean directly went forward and pulled Felix away by the back collar. Go to the opposite side. Seeing that he was pulled away, Felix was not annoyed. Looking at Sean taking his place, there was a smile on his face. Tennis is very good for exercising muscle strength. Sean suddenly leaned closer. My body stiffened. When practicing with Felix, the atmosphere was obviously very relaxed. But at this time, after it was replaced by Sean, the hands held by the two people kept getting hot. And my heart also started beating violently. Boss. I can learn by myself. I turned my head. Before I could finish speaking, my lips touched a soft touch. For fear of being misunderstood, I hurriedly explained. Boss. I didn't accidentally kiss your face. I did it on purpose. No, I did it accidentally. Well, you did it intentionally by accident. Sean looked at me naturally. Yeah. Right. The court was directly handed over to the two of them next. Tennis is still a bit difficult for me as a beginner. Sean's movements are neat and clean. His arm muscle lines are prominent. And through the sweaty t-shirt, one can vaguely see the distinct. Just when I was watching with relish, Sean turned his head, and his eyes collided with mine. He looked down at his t-shirt. In the next second, he actually lifted up the hem of his lower garment directly. My eyes wide and instantly. 1, 2, 3, 6. This is usually hidden too well. I looked calm on the surface, but inside I was already in turmoil. This contract was signed very smoothly. Sean rarely had a conscience, and took the initiative to upgrade my cabin. I lay in the first-class cabin with peace of mind. I couldn't help but take out the contract again. Salary. Baby. I'm coming. Sean stared at me for a long time. His gaze stayed on my upturned lips. As if thinking of something, he rubbed his cheek with his hand and stroked it gently. 14. Sean gave me half a day off. It was rare to sleep until noon. As soon as I arrived at the company entrance, I heard noises. I've said that I'm his mother. Are you new here? What's going on? Secretary Xu. She said she's Sean's mother. But she's so young. How could she be? Little Xu. You're finally here. He won't let me in. Before I could see clearly, a fragrant and soft body was in my arms. The woman was well maintained. Indeed. She didn't look like a woman in her 50s. I would believe it if she was said to be Sean's sister. Auntie. When did you come? This is our Sean's mother. Since you praised me for being young, I won't hold it against you. And he snorted at the security guard and took my wrist and walked in. The office door was pushed open. Mom. Why are you here? Seeing the person coming, Sean stood up and consciously gave up his seat. You don't answer calls or reply to messages. I had to come and see how my son is doing. Mom. Don't give me this. Kid. You're almost 30 and you don't even have a girlfriend. I have a few beautiful girls here. Take a look. And he directly took out a stack of photos from her bag. Moan. I said I won't go on blind dates. If you don't go on blind dates, where will you get a girlfriend? Where will you get a wife? How will you live in the future? I have money. Sean took a sip of water and said leisurely. My girlfriends show off their daughters-in-law to me. If you don't get married, I can't hold my head up. Then you walk with your head down from now on? Seeing that it didn't work, and he took out a piece of paper and covered her face and cried. Son, if you don't get married, Mom can't sleep at night. If you really can't sleep, then shall I find you a night shift? Sean. Theft. I really couldn't hold it in. The boss's tongue that can choke people to death is getting stronger and stronger. Suddenly, Auntie's eyes lit up and she came towards me. She circled around me again and again. Finally, she stood in front of me. Right. Little Xu. How old are you this year? I'll be 25 soon. Are you in a relationship? Not yet. Then do you have someone you like? Hearing this, my eyes involuntarily glanced at Sean. Unexpectedly, I directly met his gaze. I turned my face away and shook my head. Do you want me to introduce a few people to you? Mom. Mom, what mom? You don't even have a girlfriend. I don't have a son like you. I'm ashamed. Also, What does it have to do with you that I introduce people to little Zhu? Noticing Sean's nervous expression, Auntie paused. With the turn of her eyes, she saw through the brat's thoughts. No wonder he was reluctant to go on blind dates. Little Zhu, how long have you been working by Yan Yan's side? More than half a year. I answered honestly. More than half a year. Auntie repeated, and then continued. How about being my daughter-in-law? I didn't expect the topic to turn into this. I was so choked that I couldn't speak. Seeing this, Auntie quickly took the water on the table and handed it over. Quick. Drink some water and calm down. I took it and took a sip. In the next second, I coughed even harder. This is Sean's exclusive cup. And I saw him drink from it just now. All right. Mom. You can go back. I won't go on blind dates. Looking at her disappointing son, Auntie took my hand and patted it. Little Zhu. Think about it. Although this kid has a bit of a sharp tongue and always has a straight face like something. In fact, he is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. His temperament is just like his father's. And he's not bad looking. If you marry this kid, you won't have to do anything in the future. You just need to enjoy the blessings. I won't say anything else. I'll go back first. If you think it over, give give Auntie a call. And he walked out of the office with a smile on her face and didn't forget to close the door. 15. The office suddenly became quiet. After a moment of silence, Sean slowly spoke. Those words just now. Before he could finish speaking, I immediately showed my determination. Boss. Don't worry. I won't take those words seriously. How could I be worthy of the boss? After hearing this, Sean's face immediately darkened. Seeing this, I secretly sighed that it was not good and thought about what else to say to make up for it. Deserving. What? I suspected that I had misheard. Those words can be taken seriously. Sean's earlobes were slightly red, but his gaze was extremely sincere. Doris, can you give me an answer? I pinched myself hard. It hurt. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding like a drum. Sean, the vampire like he, likes me? Repeatedly shocked. I didn't even know how I walked out of the office. Sam waved her hand in front of me. Doris, what are you doing standing at the door? He confessed to me. Who? Why haven't I heard you mention it? Why would he like me? I was still immersed in my own thoughts, feeling incredulous. Sam looked at the office and suddenly realized. Could it be? Are you going to be the president's wife? I covered Sam's mouth. This big mouth would let everyone in the company know in a moment. In the next few days, I took sick leave on the pretext of being ill and didn't dare to go to work. I lay on the bed holding a mirror. My heart was tangled and a little excited. Why would Sean like me? I have neither money nor beauty. After much thinking, there is only one point. He wants me to be his labor force. That's not right. He is rich and handsome, and he seems to be quite nice to me usually. It should be that I earn it. Right? No. How can I be with Sean? I'm really crazy. There is always an upper limit to the number of sick leave days. I put on a hat and a mask and entered the company fully armed. Secretary Zhu. This document needs the boss to sign. Oh. My stomach hurts a little. Please deliver it. Thank you. I covered my stomach and rushed to the bathroom. At lunchtime, Sean just came out of the office. Zhu. I was so scared that I immediately grabbed Sam. There's a newly opened barbecue restaurant recently. Didn't you want to eat there? I'll treat you. Let's go quickly. Otherwise, we won't be able to get a seat if it's late. I didn't Before she could finish speaking, I took her away mercilessly. Sam looked at the beef noodles in front of her, and was speechless for a moment. What about the barbecue you promised? I pout. It's good to have something to eat. Don't be picky. By the way, have you accepted the boss's confession? Of course not. He must be just joking. I hurriedly looked around. Fortunately, there were no acquaintances. Alas, the boss is quite pitiful. What's pitiful? He likes someone who is so in feelings. His confession is taken as a joke. Don't you think it's pitiful? How could he possibly like me? I have the right to speak on this. You didn't see that after you fainted. Sean directly carried you out of the conference room in a Princess Carry. According to Master Lee, Sean has been accompanying you all the time. He also bought you a lot of food on the way. But it was knocked down by a child. Afraid that you would be uncomfortable when you woke up. He personally made sugar water for you. Sam became more and more excited as she spoke and slapped the chopsticks on the table. And every time we get a pay raise. Don't you have a share? Sean pays attention to you every day. For you. He even adjusted the time of our company's punch clock a little later so that you won't miss out on full attendance. The previous secretaries were fired after less than 2 months. You have broken the record and stayed by his side for so long. And last time, the whole company can see that Sean likes you. Only you still foolishly think he's joking. After listening to Sam's analysis, I felt like a slag woman. But who would know that his behavior was because he liked me? I thought he wanted to treat me as a coolie. I stood in front of the punch clock in a daze. All my thoughts occupied by Sean. Suddenly, my wrist was grabbed. I subconsciously wanted to pull my hand back. Sensing my intention, Sean's eyes darkened slightly and he slowly let go. Secretary Xu. Come here. I had followed behind Sean countless times. This time, his back seemed extremely dejected. Doris. Guessing what Sean wanted to say, I interrupted first. Wait. Are you going to confess again? As soon as the words fell, his muffled laughter came from above my head. My gaze was fixed on the light-colored tear mole at the corner of his eye. Sure enough. Except for being a bit of a workaholic, his appearance and temperament met my aesthetic standards. Doris. I've never been in a relationship and I can't say of words. But I can be sure that I like you very much. When you are injured, I will worry. When I see you so close to Felix, I will be jealous and wish I could beat him up. But when I see your smile, I will also be in a good mood. I know that the sudden confession makes you very embarrassed. But I'm really afraid that if I'm one step late one day, you will be snatched away by another man. If you are with me, everything of mine is yours. You can check my phone at any time. My password is. The passwords for bank cards and safes are. I own several properties. The property certificates are all placed in the villa in the city center. After we get married, they will all be yours. I live alone outside. You don't have to worry about the relationship with your mother-in-law. My mom will definitely be on your side. As for my dad, there's no need to worry even more. He listens to my mom. So, Doris, will you be with me? The blazing sunlight streamed in from the window. Sean's dark eyes were filled with affection. He slowly took my hand and placed it on his chest. The powerful heartbeat stimulated my palm. But I could still feel his body trembling with nervousness. I admit that I am a greedy and lustful person. Sean. Lower your head a bit. I'll tell you the answer. Sean bent down obediently like a big dog. I stood on tiptoe and hooked his neck with my hand and drew closer. Our lips touched lightly. And my heart trembled. I closed my eyes. As if a certain valve had been opened. Sean took a step forward. His arm was around my waist. And kisses fell delicately. Gentle and with careful exploration. The refreshing and cold woody fragrance lingered between the two of us. The gentle wind came quietly. The treetops swayed slightly. The wind lingered among the branches, playfully blowing the leaves and breaking this tranquility. Listening to the rustling sound, I was full of joy and excitement. In a trance, I could feel the temperature on my face completely out of control. The irregular breathing sounds hit my ears. He buried his head in my neck. He seemed to extremely like this action. His hair tickled me, making me couldn't help laughing. Doris, I love you so much. Sean's ending sound was full of affection and longing. His gaze was firmly fixed on me, focused and affectionate. Sean, I love you too. Epilogue. Not long after confirming our relationship, Sean couldn't wait to take me to meet his parents. I said this kid has impure motives. I saw through him at once. Mom, he leaned in Daddy's arms and smiled like a fox. The child is here. Dad, he made a fist with his hand and motioned for Mom he to pay attention to her behavior. What's wrong? What's wrong with the child again? I just like this. Dare you disagree? And why are you putting on a stinky face? You'll scare away your daughter-in-law in a while. After hearing this, Dad, he immediately grinned. Daughter-in-law, if this kid treats you badly in the future, come to us and we'll help you beat him up. Okay. I agreed with a smile. When Sean went to see my parents, he was so cowardly that he didn't dare to enter the door. He even found out about my parents' preferences in advance. The gifts he brought almost blocked the door. But in the end, the result was still good. The wedding was very grand. Sean took annual leave to enjoy the honeymoon. As for work, it's left to Felix and Sam, the tools who came to celebrate the wedding. The glow of the setting sun passes through the clouds and spreads across the sky. Or-ender blooms on the sea surface, shining dazzlingly like countless gems inlaid. I sank into the soft sofa. The arm around my waist was hard to ignore, feeling that blazing heat. Sean's lips were warm, as if carrying an electric current. After a short separation, when I wasn't paying attention, it intertwined again and went all the way down, capturing territory. The warm light was warm and sultry. I angrily hit Sean on the back. Didn't we just agree? Sean lowered his eyes. Against the light. My eyes were filled with mist. His Adam's apple rolled. And his lips covered mine again. The hand across my waist unconsciously tightened, wandered, and lingered. Well, the last time. I rolled my eyes and put my hands around his neck and hugged him tighter. Big liar. The end.